Welcome in, everybody. No, it's not Rainbow Bright. It's Lauren Carpenter here, stepmom Lauren, if you nasty. And you know what time it is? You know what day it is? In case you don't, it's a Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern, and I'm coming to you with my new friend Sam. His last name is actually Chowdhury, but it's now Charcuterie because that's just how I roll. I'm gonna call him Sam Charcuterie. The colleague of mine over at FTN, but you are watching Fireside Friday here with me, stepmom Lauren. Sam, thank you so much for joining me. How are you?
I'm great. I'm really happy to be here. It's Friday evening. Excited for my debut at Fireside Friday.
Woo-hoo-hoo. It's a hot mess that we have going on here. That's just I mean, look at me. I literally look like when I was doing my hair and putting all these colorful extensions in, I was like, I look like a unicorn. Like this is like unicorn mane going on. And then when I have this like fishnet neon thing over this tank top, I was like, now I just look like a hoe. So this is great. This is gonna
No,
be a great night.
yeah, I respect the hustle. Grind out the show evening, go out in the night. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So, in case anyone is curious, no, I don't normally dress like this. And if you're first tuning in, no, I don't dress like this. It is my very good friend's birthday, and she is hosting a neon party. So, hence the neon. We're going to go to a black lit double decker bus and hang out and bar hop and do all sorts of adult things that are probably I won't remember tomorrow, which is maybe for the best, but we'll have fun. But that is not why you're here, everybody. We are going to talk week 9. Hard to believe we're at week 9 already. We're going to do over-under picks on Prize Picks. Also for Underdog, everyone, if you are not signed up for Underdog yet, you can use my promo code. You can see those letters right in the back. It is SML. Let me just put that up here real quick. There you go. SML, promo code. You get your first deposit of up to $100 matched. Helps you out, helps me out. So that's pretty awesome. Also, you can head on over to FTN Fantasy, where Sam and I both work. And you can use, sorry, Sam, it's my promo code since it's my show. You can use promo code SML to get 20% off any package over at FTN Fantasy. And just one last little, piece of admin before we hop into the show. I have a winner for the signed Jerry, I almost said Justin Jackson. That was weird. Signed Jerry Judy mini helmet. I know that you're in the UK, so we may need to rethink this. I may send you a gift card or something and then draw a new name for the Jerry Judy helmet because that's a little outside of my budget. But this month's giveaway is a signed T. Higgins football. Y'all are lucky because I really wanted to keep this for myself. I'm just saying. So how you enter is very easy. Subscribe to my website. That is stepmomlauren.com. Let me throw it up here for you. stepmomlauren.com. Subscribe to there. It's free. You get updated anytime I add my content to my website because I work at many different places besides FTN. I work at the Fantasy Footballers, Fantasy Pros, as well as NBC Sports Edge. I work at a lot of places. So I put all of that on my website. Subscribe to there. Also, I showed you the promo code for Underdog. Sign up for Underdog and use that promo code SML. We keep track of that so that I can enter you into the giveaway. And the other one is easy. Share this video. Share it. Share it on social media. Retweet it on Twitter. Watch with me. Comment. Just be a part of this. I'm trying to grow the Stepmom Lauren brand as much as I can so I can give you the best content that I possibly can. All right. But now that that's all done, let's get into it, Sam. What do you say? Let's do
Let's
it.
do it.
Let's do it. Hold on. I say hi to Emmanuel. Hello. Hello, Emmanuel. Such a champ. Love you, boo. Okay. We're going to start first with yours. And let me take my banner off here. Let me take my brand off so we can see the whole thing. So this is Sam's Prize Picks. Also, if you are not signed up for Prize Picks, you can use our promo code for our work, which is FTN, also to get your first deposit of up to $100 matched. So talk me through this one, Sam. What are your thoughts? Because I know you zigged on one of these. I'm zagging on one of them in one of my picks. But talk me through this. What do you think?
Yeah, so I guess we could start at the top with Tom Brady. So what I really like about Prize Picks is fantasy points projections. I don't know any other sports book that does fantasy points like Prize Picks, but with 17 points over for Tom Brady, I think the best part about it is there's just a lot of ways he can hit it. He's only hit this mark, I think, I want to say, yeah, 3 times. He's only gone over 17 points 3 times. And we saw last week against the Ravens he threw for 325 yards and a touchdown. And he just got 20 points. But when you think about it, it could have been a much bigger game. When he threw for 325 yards, it's usually a couple touchdowns. So I think I'm sort of buying into this narrative with Brady. I don't know about you, but me personally watching him, I don't think he looks washed. I don't think he's lost it. I think Godwin is getting better and better every week. And you know, the other thing is with Brady, you have Mike Evans and Godwin on the two outside, and they're facing a Rams team that's been dominant against the run game. And coincided with that, Leonard Fournette, he's been scoring touchdown, and he's getting his hay through the passing game, which also helps Brady. But I think for them to beat the Rams, they're gonna have to chuck it. And to me, 17 points just looks way too low with all the outs he has. And next we can go to Aaron Jones, and you can see I have two Packers in this one. Yeah, I mean 65.5. I think it's pretty in line with his season average. But let's see. We saw last week, I mean, against the Bills in a game that they were trailing, he had 20 carries for 143 yards. And yeah, I mean, you can say the game sort of got away from him. And but what I think is the Packers sort of found out in that game is the only way they're going to move the ball is sort of lean on Aaron Jones. And I think in this game, I mean, I think we got the Packers at 3.5 favorites. So you can tell yourself a story that, if the Packers go down or if they're up early, it just feels like an Aaron Jones game. And one of the big things with Aaron Jones is we saw sort of a squeaky wheel narrative with after the Jets. I think he had 3 carries at halftime. And since then, Matt LaFleur said that it's unacceptable and they need to ride Aaron Jones as much as they can. I think Aaron Rodgers knows it. The Packers organization knows it. That Aaron Jones is probably their best skill player, and they just got to ride him out as long as they can to sort of stay competitive. And the best part of it is just the Lions team they're facing, one of the worst rush defenses in the league. I think they're right below the Texans against running backs. And
Yeah,
they've
it's really bad. My husband's a Lions fan. Please send pity.
no, I actually love the Lions team.
I do
That's the
too.
thing though. But yeah, I love rooting
Dan
for them.
Campbell is
But
one of my favorite coaches in the NFL. I love him.
oh yeah, for sure. And yeah, like I said, I mean, you can, I mean, you see, I have Aaron Rodgers sort of down there in the slip too. I think it's just more of a function of the defense. I think a guy that I liked last week too was Raheem Mostert for sort of the same thing, but we sort of saw him get phased out of the game when the Dolphins got up early. But I don't think this is going to be a game where any team really gets up early. And
Right, and the Packers just don't have the offensive firepower wide receiver like the Dolphins do, and this was a game for
exactly,
Tua to really prove himself and be like, "Hey, haters, what's up?" That was Tua Tagovailoa in that game. In fact, in his press conference afterwards, he goes, "Yeah, so pretty good deep ball that I'm throwing, right?" Like to do a dig, at
yeah,
the reporters and everyone who has been just hating on Tua Tagovailoa. But I'm sorry, there is no Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, or even, I mean,
yeah.
Robert Tonyan is good. I was going to say there's no Mike Gesicki, but I guess he does have one. But yeah,
Mhm.
this is going to be on the ground. Whether that's going to be passing to Aaron Jones or running Aaron Jones, I think it's going to be a lot of Aaron Jones. So I was actually surprised at this line at 65.5. I'm glad you picked it out. That was a good one.
Yeah, and I thought that was funny that you brought up that Tua video. I like Tua, but as someone that plays Tyreek Hill a lot this season, he's still underthrowing him so much. I'm just
I
cringing.
know.
Like, can you just lead him out just a little bit? I mean, the dude has almost 200 yards and doesn't score a touchdown because he's underthrowing it. But that's a side tangent. And yeah, no, I just think like it's a smash spot for just the whole Green Bay offense. I think it's sort of the same narrative I'm painting with Brady, Rodgers and Brady. I guess we can go to Rodgers at that
Yeah,
point.
so I was actually going to say that since we're on the Green Bay, matchup right now against the Lions, let's skip down. Let's skip over Darnell Mooney for now and talk to me about Aaron Rodgers because I'm not in the same boat on this one.
Yeah, and I'm actually pretty happy that I got this line early, and it's crazy that I'm still sort of hesitating about this line with 244.5. I mean, I'm afraid if he's going to get to 250, but it's more of the matchup and I guess the narrative that I'm painting myself with Rodgers. The offense, I mean, it needs to start to get going with the. I think
Yes.
they're on a 4-game losing streak. 4-game losing streak, 3-5 in the division. I mean, Vikings are running away with it with 6 wins
Mm-hmm.
ahead of them. And say
Skull.
what you will, yeah, say what you will about Tua, but he's sort of elevated with his weapons. But we saw him go 382 against the secondary, and Rodgers isn't who he was, but I think, like I said, it's just a spot more than anything. I like betting on the Packers when they're at home, but just for Rodgers as a player, I do like that it's in a dome. The secondary has been abysmal for Detroit. They just fired their secondary coach. I think they're using him as a scapegoat, but that's another thing on its own. And one really cool thing we have at FTN, it's actually a free tool, is the fantasy points allowed tool.
Oh,
The
that's a
line,
great tool. Good call. Yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
And for those of you that do DFS, daily fantasy, this is definitely a staple of one of mine for building lineups, but they're actually a league worst against quarterbacks, allowing 21.6 points per game. And, they haven't had these monster performances from quarterback either. We saw a couple weeks ago, Dak didn't have to do much, sort of grinding it out through the ground. So they're just getting decimated through the ground and through the air. And I think it's a 3.5 spread, which is kind of tight, but I do think it's going to be somewhat of a competitive game. And I think that'll force Rodgers to sort of throw it to either catch up, stay ahead, you name it. So it just,
Mhm.
I don't feel great about it. And I just think it's just more the 244.5. I think anything higher than 250, it's sort of a stay away from me. But just this season, let's see, he's hit over 244.5, yeah, just twice all season long, which is
Mhm.
crazy to think about. This guy was a two-time MVP. So, yeah, I think it's just a nice spot for just the entire Green Bay offense this week. And yeah, I guess we can sort of touch on Darnell Mooney. We sort of seen throughout the past
Speaking of the
couple
same
weeks.
division.
Yeah. I mean, isn't it crazy that now? I mean, I thought Chicago had the worst receiving core coming into it, but now Mooney and Claypool, Rodgers would love that on his side.
Right?
But yeah, I think I guess the Claypool edition sort of there's a needle into this, but 43.5. I mean, we were just talking about that Miami team. I think it's one of the best offenses in the league, just the way they score and their pace of play. I think, they like to get on the ball. They like to run the score up. They're one of the pass heaviest teams in situation neutral. And yeah, the concern is sort of the pass volume with Chicago, but
But
no, go
what
ahead.
I really it's interesting you say that though, because I was just thinking you don't have to have a ton of receptions to hit this line because Darnell Mooney is the down deep field threat. So deep field technically is over 20 yards. That's throwing deep. And that's literally where Darnell Mooney lives. So he can get this done in 2 receptions or 3. This is not impossible. And so with Chase Claypool on the team right now, there is going to be a dictation of defenses and what they're going to have to do in the secondary to try to figure out what the heck is going on. And I honestly think if Mooney can hang on to the ball, I think he can get it done in 2 receptions. Likely it could be 3. But yeah, it may seem like it's high simply because it's the Bears and they don't pass. But man, when you're the deep field threat and you can hang on to two or three catches, you hit the over, you're good.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, when I first saw that line, I thought it was just, I thought it was just mispriced because, if you just look at his last couple game logs, I mean, he's hit this mark in his last 5 games. So this was before the Claypool trade, and the line you can still get this line right now. I think throughout the course of the season, it might be more of a 1A, 1B, but we've seen, we saw Robbie Anderson as soon as he got traded, he played, yeah, a handful of snaps here and there, and even if Claypool is a full-time player in this offense, I still think this game Darnell Mooney will be the alpha, and I think they're going to be trailing. And let me just read you the game log for the past couple games. So his last couple games, he had 70 receiving yards, 53, 68, 52, 94. So it's nowhere close to this 43.5 mark. And Miami's secondary isn't great either. So I think the
Mhm.
line just sort of confuses me more than anything, regardless of how the game plays out. And in that same game, we got Tyreek Hill on the other side. And this is something that I like to do with prize picks and player props is correlate players. You can either go with your quarterback and a pass catcher or 2 pass catchers from 2 different sides, hoping they can push each other. And
Mhm.
with, with the way Tyreek's playing, it's really hard for me to see him have anything under than 90 receiving yards. This is sort of Cooper Cup numbers that we were seeing at this time last season. And even then, I was sort of hesitant of pulling the trigger with the receiving prop so high. But it's harder for me to see him go under, like I said, under 90 yards and over. We just saw him have 88 yards last week. And he had, against Pittsburgh, I feel like he did all of his damage in the first half. He ended with 72 yards. But then the week prior, he had 177. And even though in terms of fantasy, you see Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are sort of neck and neck in terms of just raw scoring. But Tyreek Hill, it's pretty clear that he's sort of the alpha in this offense. And what I like about the Miami offense, it's just these two in the pass game. It's Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and that's about it. And it's more of a pass first team. We didn't know what we'd expect with Mike McDaniel coming from San Francisco, but it's pretty clear he likes to pass to stay ahead and keep the lead passing. So I just think there's going to be enough volume regardless of game script. And I think he goes over 100, honestly. So I think 88.5 is a pretty smash spot.
Yeah, that is a really good smash spot. I liked that line a lot. And what I think is interesting too is there's no Robert Quinn and there's no Roquan Smith. So there is
Mm-hmm.
going to be a lot of opportunity for Tua to hang out in the pocket and be like, how much time do I have? Where's Tyreek? And then that I honestly do. I think both of them are going to have great games, both of them meaning Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. And I do
I'm
like
with
the
you.
point that you brought up about playing wide receivers from the same matchup, basically against each other, if you will, in your picks, because that is how it is. If it's going to be a competitive game, those guys are the ones that are going to be making the plays. They're going to be getting the targets and they're going to be getting the touchdowns or the yards, whichever one it is that you have selected. I love those. Let me go ahead and just show your underdog selections because we have the same ones here and still the overs. I think these numbers are almost the same. Aaron Rodgers numbers
Yeah.
on underdog are a little bit higher at 249 and a half, but you still took the over on that one. And then Aaron Jones is the 64 and a half. That one's the same. Tyreek Hill is 89 and a half. That's only what, 1 yard
A
difference. I mean, yeah,
yard. Yep.
whatever. I love that. Darnell Mooney, 43 and a half. I love that one too. So fantastic, Sam, because I'm probably going to go have to make another lineup now with yours, which is what I do because I now have an addiction to over under props. Don't tell anyone. We'll just keep that a secret between you and me. All right, let's go to mine here. Here is my underdog. Do you like how I never use dark? I always go with the light. People are like, oh my God, it's
Yeah.
burning my eyeballs. Like, sorry, put some sunglasses on. I like to be able to see, and Prize Picks, I have dark, but like on underdog, I like the light. Either way. So speaking of the Green Bay Packers and what we were talking about here. So I went ahead with A.J. Dillon and I went higher on his 39 and a half rushing yards. There's enough, I think, meat on the bone here for when Aaron Jones needs a water break and A.J. Dillon is in for a few plays for him to be able to rush against the Lions defense and hit this mark and go over. So I did like the rushing yard for A.J. Dillon. And I think that Aaron Jones not only will be involved in the run game, but he will be involved in the receiving game. Like we mentioned, there is a lack of talented wide receivers. Let's not say talented. Let's say experienced wide receivers that are out there. I think Alan Lazard is healthy, so that is an option too. But I really think that this ground and pound game, it doesn't have to be a 50-50 split or even a 60-40 split, a 70-30 split. And I still think A.J. Dillon can hit the over on 39 and a half, which means 40 rushing yards. You're done. You're good. Like, I think he can make that mark. It is a little on the, but I did like it as soon as I saw it. I'm like, no, I think that can happen based on game script. Because if the Packers can finally get their mojo together and get up high early, third quarter, let's say, I think they will start putting it on the ground and not have to put their young wide receivers into a situation that they don't need to be in. So let's stick next with the same division again. We're picking on the Lions here, but I'm going Jared Goff at over a half of interception. All right, Green Bay's defense is not terrible. They're just not winning games because they're not scoring a lot of points. But Jared Goff is usually good for an interception for the Lions. Sorry, Jared. I really do like you, but you do throw interceptions. So I went the over on a half an interception. So that just means if he throws one, you have won that line, which I absolutely love. And sticking with another quarterback, I'm going to go Kirk Cousins. I love the addition of TJ Hawkinson in that lineup. I think it's fantastic for Kirk Cousins. Little bit meh for KJ Osborne, but I still think that Kirk Cousins can pass 2 touchdowns because he's not exactly fleet of foot. So he's not going to be running and rushing like we see Kyler Murray do and we see Justin Fields do. So I got the over on the 1.5 passing touchdowns for Kirk Cousins against the Washington Manders, as the fantasy footballers like to call them. Will Dissly, as Bob Harris great Bob Harris, who I absolutely adore, who has been on the show. The dismissal is what he calls him. The dismissal. Will Disley. They are playing against the Arizona Cardinals, who are absolutely terrible against tight ends. Now, Noah Fant is also an option that you can look at both on Underdog and on Prize Picks. I went ahead with Will Disley because these yards, it's only 18 and a half. And like we mentioned before with Darnell Mooney, even though Disley is not a deep threat, he gets 3 receptions. He can hit the over on this 18 and a half receiving yards against a very porous Cardinals defense that are terrible against tight ends. It's a known fact. Everyone look it up, receipts. That's like the new thing now. Everyone's like fantasy receipts. Yeah, well, you can go look it up. They're terrible. They're terrible against tight ends. So the dismissal, I have him over on 18 and a half receiving yards. Last but not least, another thing I really like about Prize Picks and Underdog, promo code SML for Underdog, the field goals. Like Ryan Suckup is good for at least 2 field goals a game. Like I'm good with that because Tampa Bay seems to be allergic to the end zone. As often as they get as close as they cannot get it together. So even if they do string together a couple of scoring plays, there will be opportunity for Ryan Suckup to kick and make more than 2 field goals. So I put Ryan Suckup in there. Now watch him only kick 1, and that would just like break my heart. But such is fantasy football. Let's go ahead and go to my Prize Picks and my zag to your zig. I went the under. So your line when you did this earlier, and this is interesting, folks, if you're not familiar with how these companies work, these lines do change. So if you notice the yards on Aaron Rodgers for me is 262 and a half, where when Sam Charcuterie did it earlier, I almost called you by your real last name. I can't have that here on the show. So he had it at 244 and a half, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 244.
Yep.
They literally increased this to 262 and a half. So I took the under on this because I think a lot of people were smashing the over on those passing yards for Aaron Rodgers. And just like I mentioned before, with the game script might dictate, and just like you said, the squeaky wheel gets the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Yeah. That's what it is. I have not been drinking. Yes, I have, but it is only my first one. By the way, I'm going to a neon party. Give me a break. So I went the under on 262 and a half for Aaron Rodgers. Gonna go stick with that quarterback position. We're talking about the Bears earlier and our love for Darnell Mooney on that line that he had. And I'm gonna go the over on 165 and a half passing yards for Justin Fields. This one is spicy. It wasn't combined rushing receiving. I went with the pass yards. I liked this line because the addition of Chase Claypool, because of what I think that Miami can allow in the secondary. I think that he can make it happen with a few more weapons. All he needs is 166 passing yards to get you the over on this. And I think that the offense is going to want to play around with their shiny new toy with Chase Claypool. That also brings in Darnell Mooney and it brings in Cole Kmet. So I like this a lot. Hopefully Velus Jones gets his shit figured out. That's just, come on, dude. You got to pick it up. But I went the over on Justin Fields, 165 and a half passing yards, a little risky. If you want to go under, go for it. I mean, that's why we bring these up, our thought process and why we do it. And again, I also went with an Aaron Jones, 65 and a half rushing yards. I'm doing the over.
Hell yeah.
I'm doing the over. I can't argue with it. I absolutely love it. He will be involved in the receiving game, but his rushing and receiving was a little rich for my blood. So I went to just the rushing yards. Also the rushing and receiving obviously combines a player's rushing yards and receiving yards. And the receiving yards, what were really a little bit too rich for my blood. So I went with the rushing yards at 65 and a half. I'm going over. Geno Smith, I love you. Like, hi. Can you write back to me? Because I really like you. But I did write you off. I'm not going to lie, because I totally did. But I'm going to go over on 1.5 passing touchdowns. They're playing, again, the Arizona Cardinals. So if they're porous against tight ends, they're also not awesome against wide receivers. I think that Geno Smith can pass more than 2 touchdowns. I absolutely love this line. Go Geno. Go get it, man. Like make this your heyday. Make it your thing. You and Pete Carroll to become besties if you're not already. And then, of course, Stephon Diggs was there on an over on a receiving touchdown. Isn't that like granted almost every week that he's going to score a touchdown? I mean, that I've said that, he won't, but
I mean, you can lock that in with Diggs. And one thing that I want to talk about is I like with both of yours with Geno Smith and Cousins 1.5 touchdowns. You know, in their last 2 games, they already cleared that mark, throwing for 2 touchdowns in 2 straight games for both of them. But I guess this is something more that you wouldn't know if you're not watching the game. How many times have we seen Justin Jefferson this season just get tackled at the 1 yard line? I think Cousins' numbers are pretty underrated because he's barely missing out on those touchdowns with Dalvin Cook
Mm-hmm.
running it from the one. And yeah, with Gino, I think Lockett scored once and DK scored once, but he hit him deep, wide open twice last game. That should have been a 4 touchdown day last week. So I really like those. I feel like you're sort of buying low because they should have a lot more touchdowns this season. And I like both of their game environments a lot. You even sort of correlated the Will Disley with Geno Smith here. I like that. And
It's like my Geno Disley stack. Whoop,
yeah, for
whoop.
sure. I love that. And
If
yeah, I
Noah
mean,
Fant scores 2 touchdowns, I'm gonna be so mad. But actually, I won't. As long as the dismissal gets like 19 yards, I'm okay.
yeah. Yeah, I like where you're at with both the Green Bay running backs too, because I mentioned earlier how much I love Aaron Jones with AJ Dillon sort of being phased out, and this was just the last 2 weeks. He's seen less than 30 or 35% or lower of the team's rush attempts, but he had 10 carries for 54 yards against Buffalo in a game they were
Mm-hmm.
trailing the whole game. So
Yeah.
against this Lions defense, he could have 2 carries and pass this mark. So yeah, 39.5. I'm completely satisfied with that, and I like that you did the Dillon and Jones both. It's not really a hedge. It's just attacking this Lions defense. Correlated with Jared Goff playing from behind. There's a few quarterbacks where it's even money to throw an interception, and Goff, it's like minus. I don't know what it is, but he's favored to throw an interception. So that's definitely one thing you guys want to look at for sure because they keep all quarterbacks at 0.5, but players like Goff, their odds are a lot bigger in other sports books like DraftKings, for example. So yeah, no, I love all these for sure.
Yay. So I get the check mark of approval from our boy Sam Charcuterie. That makes me very happy. Makes me very happy, Sam. So thank you so
Of
much. All
course.
right, let's get into some questions for y'all before we let you go because we're getting close to our 30-minute mark here, and I have drinking to do. Eating first, then drinking to you, and then my stepdaughter just came home, Maylee, from grad school. She's really smart. Like she already has a job, like out of college.
Where did she go to
Seven,
grad school?
U of F. She's an engineer. It's like $72,000
Oh,
a year
nice.
is what she's starting at. Full benefits,
Wow.
everything. I'm like, yeah. So you're clearly wise. Clearly wise. All right, let's get to your comments. And oh yeah, she's the best. All right, here we go. First of all, everyone, thank you so much for joining me and Sam. I really appreciate it. You guys are absolutely the best. I'm gonna go Brett Thunder. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na. Okay, so Sam, real quick about Brett Thunderstruck. His name is not actually Thunderstruck, but when I saw his name, just like I changed yours to Charcuterie, I changed his to Thunderstruck, and he actually did change it on social media to
That's
Thunderstruck
awesome.
because that's how cool he is. Absolutely love it. So he says, since Jonathan Taylor is out, should he flex Deion Jackson against New England or AJ Dillon against Detroit? Half PPR. This one's tough. I'm gonna lean Deion Jackson here, especially with the loss of Nyheim Hines. What do you think, Sam?
Yeah, it's pretty easily Deion Jackson for me. I think it's just a bet on volume alone. I think Dillon can find the end zone and outscore him, but yeah, go with Jackson with the volume.
Yeah, for sure. I do like that one. There is something about I just keep getting drawn back to that Packers Lions game. But as much as I loved AJ Dillon's line, it was under 40 yards. So let's go
Hmm.
ahead and go with the Deion Jackson there. Another thing when you do picks over unders, remember that doesn't always translate to fantasy points, is what we're saying. We're just trying to find the most lucrative lines, and those could be very low. So Deion Jackson, he also has one more here. He needs upside in a full PPR. Should he go Zay Jones, Marquez Valdez Scantling, Khalif Raymond, if Reynolds is out, and then or Terrace Marshall? Thank you. This one is tough. I'm gonna go ahead and say if you need upside but big bust potential, it's gonna be Marquez Valdez Scantling. Miko Hardman has really become that deep look for Patrick Mahomes. But again, it's gonna be through the air on that one. Even though I would actually lean Zay Jones here because it's full PPR and he gets a ton of volume. So you're going to be getting the upside plus a safe-ish floor. So I actually think I might lean Zay Jones on this one. So because at least he's not going to goose you.
Yeah, I think MVS definitively has the most upside. I think I would lean Zay Jones if Reynolds is in, but I think I would go Raymond if Reynolds is out because we've been talking about this game a
Yeah,
lot.
that's
I
true.
think,
Yep, yep.
yeah, and I mean he's low key been super consistent. He's had over 75 yards the last 2 games, which is pretty crazy when you think about it. 4 targets, 6 targets, and that's with Reynolds playing. So, yeah, I agree with Lauren there.
Awesome, awesome. And then Tanya, thank you so much for joining, my dear. How are you? Thank you again. And let's go ahead and answer your question. Aaron Rodgers or Justin Fields this week? I hate that I'm saying this out loud because it feels blasphemous. I'm going Justin Fields.
I think I am too.
Yes,
Yeah, I mean
doesn't
he's
it?
been
What world
he's
do we live
crazy.
in, Sam? What is happening right now? Like,
Yeah, actually,
are we
I
going to get
mean
struck by lightning by the fantasy gods and the football gods as soon as we exit our homes? I don't
it's
know.
crazy. I mean, I actually just wrote up Justin Fields, one of my DraftKings plays, about an hour ago. I mean, this guy's the QB3 since week 5, which is it's insane to me. And yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go with Justin Fields there.
Yeah, yeah. His rushing upside is absolutely insane. Plus, like we had mentioned before, the addition of Chase Claypool really just helps him out exponentially, I think, in my opinion. And even though that may not translate to huge fantasy points this week for Chase Claypool, it will translate for Justin Fields. So give me that all day long. He's got the weapons, he's got the legs. I'm going to go the upside with Justin Fields, and he has a very high safe floor as well. So Justin Fields for me, even though it's over Aaron Rodgers, which just feels so weird. All right, one last one, and then we will let you all go so you can go either finish work, boo, or go enjoy the rest of your weekend, yay. Here we are from Emmanuel Lucero. Yay. Got the Luceros and I love it. Pick one for your flex in full PPR. Ooh, another MVS question. Robert Woods, Julio Jones, or Isaiah Likely? Okay, your buys hurt you, but these are not bad options. All right, trust me, I've heard much worse. Like much worse. So these are not too bad. Emmanuel, what do you think? That's why you're asking me questions. Sam, what do you think about Emmanuel's conundrum here?
I think if Mark Andrews is out, Isaiah Likely, I think, is pretty easily
It's a
the
Monday
best
night game,
flex
though. That's a
option
tough
here.
one.
Yeah, so that's a problem. But I think
Sucks.
I think I might roll out with Isaiah Likely because if Tannehill's out, which we don't know, you don't want to play Robert Woods. That could be a zero in its own.
Ugh.
I like, yeah, I like MVS. I mean, I don't like MVS, but we sort of know what we're getting. It's boom bust. It's going to be double-digit points or less than 5 points. Julio Jones, I don't want to touch. I don't know if he's
Mm-mm.
going to play. So
Mm-mm.
I think I might, yeah. I mean, with Bateman out, I think they just have to use Isaiah Likely. They run 2 tight end sets, one of the highest rates of the league. So I think I think Likely might be the safest option, even if Andrews plays, and just huge upside if he doesn't. So give me Likely in this.
That's exactly what I was going to just tack onto that because as much as we like the upside of MVS, there's the bust potential is so astronomical that it's almost not even worth it. Again, the Tannehill issue, he didn't practice again today either, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, so I don't think he practiced again today. That's never a good sign on a Friday. So just assume that Tannehill is probably going to be out. Julio Jones, he went from questionable to healthy, healthy to questionable, questionable to healthy, healthy to out. Like you never know what is going on with that dude, like ever. So the safest play and the highest upside is going to be Isaiah Likely. Worst case scenario, Mark Andrews plays, but okay, then Isaiah Likely, okay, whatever. Then Isaiah Likely is in the exact same position as all of these players.
Exactly.
Second best case scenario is Mark Andrews plays, but he's limited, just like he has been over the last week or 2 weeks. And then Isaiah Likely still gets his hay. Best case scenario, Mark Andrews is out, Isaiah Likely all day long. So Isaiah Likely for me on this one, as weird as it is to put him in over someone like Julio Jones or Robert Woods, there's a lot of other weird factors going on here. So I hope we help you out there, Emmanuel. All right, that's it for us. Remember, if you want to win a signed T. Higgins football, which is right here. It's very crinkly and loud. Signed T. Higgins football. No, it is actually signed. It's not just a Bengals football that I'll like forge. No, it is JSA certified, and I will ship it to you. And I expect a picture when I ship it to you, but you got to win it first. Subscribe to my website. Very easy. stepmomlauren.com. Share this video. Also, head on over to Underdog Fantasy. Use the promo code SML. It's like deceiving when I say promo code because they'll ask you, how did you hear of us? That's where you use SML. Just so you know, I've had a few people get confused about that. And thank you so much for joining me, everyone. Good luck in your week 9 matchups during the Bipocalypse. Sam, thank you so much for joining me. Tell everyone what you are working on and where they can find you.
Yeah, so I just had my high stakes DFS article come out this week. I'm posting articles
Guys,
all
he's
throughout
really
the
good
week.
at this. Okay. He's really, really good at this. That's why I had him on my show.
Appreciate it. Yeah, there's a lot of great stuff with me, Lauren at FTN. So definitely get subscribed to that to see all my content. And I'll be live on Sunday 2 in the morning for a live before lock show to help you guys set your lineup. So
Ooh,
hang out
nice.
there for subscribers, and yeah.
Right on, right on. All right, everybody. Good luck in week 9, as I mentioned before. I'm probably not going to answer any fantasy questions tonight because I'm going to be hammered at a birthday party. But I will try to get to everybody on Saturday and then try my best on Sunday morning. And if anyone wants to watch the games or can't watch the games, you can follow me on NBCSportsEdge.com. I do the Sunday fantasy football blog, and I keep everyone up to date on everything that is happening during all of the 1 o'clock games and all of the 4 o'clock games. Yeah, I have no life for about 8 hours. It's great, but I do get to boss people around and bring me food and beverages, which is super fun. Thank you again, everyone, for joining me. Take care. Good luck.